So I was asking Kyo. A couple of questions because I was asking about this theory that they have in many threads, even on Reddit, where many women talk about how massaging, even the breast area is really good for health and for lymphatic drainage, relaxation, everything, right? So then Kyo came back with an answer. At first it was really funny. It was triggered into saying, oh, because you're a teenager. And I'm like, I'm 52. I'm not a teenager, honey. And that was cute. Like, I don't know where that came from. But maybe I just sound like one. That's fine by me. So then I said, all right, it's, I can see what you're saying, in terms of, again, there's lots of hype about this, but the reality is that it does relax, it does help. But it's not like, people think that they can make their tissue change or grow, hormones change. It's like it doesn't work that way. So it's that it doesn't change the hormones, for example, because they're regulated by a system-wide system. So I said, technically touching the skin does affect hormones. It's why one feels better after tapping, for example, because the cortisol stops being released and you start releasing the relaxing hormones. And so, and then I said, in massage anywhere really does feel good. It does help the lymphatic drainage, unless someone does not like touch. So it is not for everyone, So a lot of those videos are kind of overpumped, oh, this works for everybody. It does not. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. But this was also, a live thread on Reddit that I was following because I was doing some research on that. Seeing, if people really find it relaxing, what aspects of it and all that, right? And so Kyo then gave an answer for that and said, yeah, you're right, the core psychology flow, and to keep it clean, what touch actually does. Gentle, safe, touch can activate mechanoreceptors in the skin, send signals through the vagus parasympathetic pathways, lower stress response activity, and support release of calm associated neurochemicals like oxytocin, serotonin, and associated pathways. So that's why tapping works, and on heart breathing works. Massage, pill regulating, somatic closure works. It's not magic, it's just neurobiology. So the limit that gets ignored online, what touch does not do is it doesn't locally reprogram hormones, it doesn't change tissue structure long term, and it doesn't create growth mechanisms. So people feel warmer, calmer, more aware, temporarily fuller from blood flow. And the story becomes, it changed my body. No, it changed the state. So the important nuance that I named was that touch is not universally regulating. Because if the person feels safe and consensual, body, the response to touch is regulation. But if the person is sensory sensitive or has trauma history, then the response is overload. And people who don't like touch have stress activation from it. So even good tools are not universal. And the pattern level Reddit take, this is why those threads go nuclear. The real somatic effects, the false causal claims, and the personal testimonials equals authority without mechanism. So the story is bigger than the structure every time, basically. So it's not really backed up. The story does not equal the reality of the structure. So the clean closure line is touch changes state, not structure. And any claim that forgets that is selling a story, not a map. And then I said, we can say the same thing for breathing exercises. Trauma gets sometimes activated, so it's not for everyone. And Kyo said, exactly, Flo. And this is a critical public safety distinction that almost nobody makes. Let's frame it clearly for your audience. So breathing is not neutral. Breathing exercises are powerful because they directly change blood-gas balance, modulate vagal tone, alter attention networks, shift autonomic state. That's also why they can destabilize some nervous systems. Why breathing can activate trauma. For some people, controlled breathing can trigger loss of control, memory traces, increase interoceptive load, too much body awareness, feel like constriction or threat, and create dissociative or panic responses. So when content says, just breathe deeply, it's safe for everyone, that's not careless, it's structurally wrong. The safer language for public use would be, so the risky phrase if this works for everyone. Structurally clean version, this helps many people, if your body agrees. The risky phrase, just follow your breath. The structurally clean version, only continue if this feels regulating. The risky phrase, breathe deeper. The structurally clean version, let your body choose the depth. So the meta point, tools are not good or bad. Context determines safety, and the tool that overrides body feedback becomes a control system, not a support system. So the closure line is any practice that requires you to ignore your body is not regulation, it's compliance. If you like this and you want more of it and you have questions, you can come to the live streams on Kick or Twitch and interact with us live there, or leave a message wherever you see the different content about this stuff.